Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over UFC Noche Silva versus Lopez. First things first, make sure you smash that like button. Give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's a Stats and Stacks podcast. Super quick overview of last week. We got murdered because of Brad Tavares. That's what it is. He went out there and decided to shit the bed, and we had way too much money on a 37-year-old. That's on us. Kawhi Fernandez looked great, but most parlays had both, so it is what it is. Sometimes you get smacked in the mouth, sometimes you make a ton of money. We're hoping that it's going to be the latter this go around with UFC Noche. My apologies if I keep sneezing throughout the whole podcast. Feel a little under the weather, but it is what it is. We're going to quickly go through this 14 fight offering. By hook or crook, healthy or not, we're going to go through. So if our physical health isn't well, hopefully our pockets can be. So let's just jump into the very first fight of the night. We have Daniil Donchenko at minus 240 going up against Rodrigo Cizionado at plus 195, over 1.5 minus 190, under 1.5 at plus 145. This is the canceled Ultimate Fighter matchup, finale matchup. And it's an interesting one. It's kind of your classic striker versus grappler. Let's start with Daniil. Daniil's super young. He's 24 years old. He has really good striking. There's a lot of training over in Muay Thai. He has good cardio to go with his good striking. His jiu-jitsu is a little bit of a question mark, and his wrestling's a little bit of a question mark, to be honest with you. Not a ton of guys that go out there and just grapple with him. So there's a lot of unknown that the fact that he's only 24 years old. But I do like that he's one over and one. That's a decent promotion. I like that he fought in the Ultimate Fighter. That's a decent promotion. But again, he fought two strikers on the Ultimate Fighter. He's someone that loves fighting strikers. So I'm sure he's aware of his holes in grappling. It's just a matter of can they be exploited. On the ground, yeah, I think Rodrigo's a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. That is his base. That's his bread and butter. He is able to strike. He's a decent striker, but nowhere on the level as Daniil. But the same goes for the ground. It's not even close with Daniil and Rodrigo on the ground. Ultimately, that's where Rodrigo wants to be. He has a good camp at Nova União. It's just a matter of can he get the fight down there? Can he wrestle? The answer is a little. He's not the world's greatest wrestler. He kind of has that jiu-jitsu wrestling to where he can take you down if you're absolutely terrible, but if you have really good takedown defense, you'll struggle. And we just kind of saw that in the last fight with Kyle Borralho in the main event. However, Jeff Creighton's a pretty decent wrestler, and he was able to get him down multiple times. So if he can take down Jeff, he can probably take down Daniil. He definitely slows down in his fight, so it's going to be a little bit of a sweat. But at plus 200, you're forcing my hand here. So the pick is going to be Rodrigo. Or sorry, the pick is going to be Daniil, but I might end up with just a little sprinkle to start the night on Rodrigo, just because he's the dog. Next fight of the night, we have Montserrat Rendon at plus 140 going up against Alice Pereira at minus 165. Over 2.5 minus 260, under 2.5 at plus 195. You read that right. It is a Pereira. Alice Pereira is 19 years old, and she is the little sister of former light heavyweight champion Alex Poetan Pereira. She has really good striking, as you'd guess. She has a ton of power, as you'd guess. But her grappling and her wrestling are a little bit of an issue, as you'd guess, as Alex. And her cardio, we're not sure. Just mainly because when you go back and you go through her fights, she did win a decision in her last fight, but outside of that, there's round two KO, round one KO, round one KO, round one KO. She's not really getting tested. And I was having difficulty getting fight tape of that last fight to see how her cardio was. She won, so I'm assuming it's women's MMA. I'm assuming she can hold up. But with the last name Pereira, she has a few things on here with record ineligible and just a little question marks that Tapology flagged for potential fixed fights. So she ain't fighting any grapplers, I'll tell you that. Montserrat Rendon is a grappler through and through. Montserrat Rendon is not young. She's 36 years old. But And she's extremely slow. So, like she's one of the slowest fighters, like physically slowest fighters I've ever seen in my life. She's a little bit of a punching bag. However, her jujitsu's okay. Her wrestling's not good, but she finds ways down to the ground, and her striking leaves a little to be desired. But she is of Mexican descent. She'll have the crowd fully behind her at UFC Noche. Um, and she's 6-1. She's been in the UFC a few times. They both have pretty low records here, with 5-0 and 6-1. But Rendon's gonna be her third fight in the UFC against a 19-year-old debuting fighter. Just the name Poatan isn't enough for me to bet Pereira as a favorite. And UFC Noche in a debut at 19, fuck out of here. So the pick is going to be Montserrat Rendon. The bet is going to be Montserrat Rendon. Next fight of the night, we have Alessandro Costa at minus 455 going up against Alden Correa at plus 350. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 105. Under 2.5 at minus 125. Let's start with Costa. I think Costa's really, really, really good, and people are forgetting about him. He's 29 years old. He's one of the main training partners of Diego Lopes, who's the headliner. He's another one of these guys that are of Brazilian descent that train over in Mexico and adapt to the Mexican culture. So he will have the crowd behind him. He has world-class jiu-jitsu. He has good striking to accompany it. His wrestling offensively leaves a little to be desired. Defensively, 90% takedown defense, so he's really hard to get down to the ground. He throws decent volume. He can be low volume at times, but sometimes if he bites down on the mouthpiece, he will throw. He has decent little power on him. He's good all around. I think this guy could be a top 10 guy in the weight class. I think he's super, super solid. He's super good. His losses in the UFC are to Amir Albazi on short notice and to Steve Erceg. And he dropped Steve Erceg. It was a really close fight. So a former title challenger and a top five guy are his two losses. Dude's good. He hasn't beat anyone good. Jimmy Flick isn't great. Um, Kevin Borjas is all right. So he doesn't had a good level of competition that he beat, but he did finish Kevin Borjas, and that's not easy to do. At the end of the day, it's his health that keeps getting in his way. His own body is quitting on him, but when he's out there, he's generally very good. And he was originally slated to fight Edgar Chairez, which is interesting because they both would have the crowd behind them, more so Edgar, obviously. But Edgar dropped out, and now we have short notice Alden stepping in. Alden's not terrible. He's at a pretty decent camp at 4 Ounce Fight Club with Cub Swanson and Dan Argueta and those guys. He's 27 years old. He's 10-3, stepping in on short notice. He has pretty decent power on him himself. He has really good striking. He has good jiu-jitsu. He's a little lower volume as well. So I said Alessandro can be lower volume. Alden's even more low volume. His cardio, he does slow. It's a little questionable at times. And you can back him up quite a bit. His takedown defense is pretty decent. But he does have a tendency to back up and not feel great if you pressure him. Alessandro is a little tank that's just going to march forward and swing for the fences. So at the end of the day, they both fight kind of similarly, but Alessandro has fought the better guys and is a little better in every area. So the pick is going to be Alessandro, the bet's going to be Alessandro, and he's minus 455 for a reason. I like that guy though. He's really good. Keep an eye on Alessandro. People I don't like Zachary Reese at minus 240 going up against Cedric Dumas at plus 195. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 plus 130. Under 1.5 at minus 165. Let's start with Reese Cup Zach Reese. He's terrible. He's 31 years old. His striking's okay. He does carry some power. He hits extremely hard. His jujitsu's okay, I guess. But his wrestling's pretty bad. His cardio is god awful. His chin is god awful. And when I say his jiu-jitsu is okay, all he is going out there and arm barring from guard people who should not be in an octagon. Like his level of competition's god awful. So Reese is a little bit of a can crusher, and he is getting exposed in the UFC. On the other side, we have Cedric Dumas, who is essentially the same damn thing. Cedric Dumas is 30 years old. He has a 2-inch reach advantage. He is okay striking, but his wrestling's trash. His jiu-jitsu's trash. He slows down in his fights. He doesn't gas like Reese, or like Reese does, but he does slow down quite a bit. And he has really, really low volume. So this dude's getting tired from doing absolutely nothing. You want to talk about low level of competition? This guy's is even worse. And his wins in the UFC, at least Zach Reese beat like a Julian Marquez. In the UFC. Cedric Dumas has beaten Dennis Talulian in a close fight, and Abu Azatar in a close fight, and then the weird Cody Brundage one. That was kind of weird. Cody on short notice, but he's also going out there and getting choked up by Josh Front, so that's not a good look. At the end of the day, neither one of these guys are UFC caliber. However, Reese does have a little more firepower, and he does throw a little more. So for that reason alone, I'm going to take Reese. I don't feel comfortable at Reese at minus 240. But Cedric has all those legal issues going on. God knows where he's training, what he's doing. I think he's potentially just fighting for a paycheck to help with his legal fees, and I ain't backing that. So the pick is going to be Reese. The bet is going to be Zach Reese. Next fight of the night, we have the next Mexican on the card. We have Jesus Aguilar at plus 150, going up against Luis Gorilli at minus 220. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5, minus 145, under 2.5 at plus 125. Part of the over under is because of this guy, Jesus. He's fucking ridiculous. I don't know what to do with him. He's 29 years old, and he has bad striking, he has 40% takedown defense. His jiu-jitsu, he's been subbed multiple times. When he does get taken down, he will play guard. His cardio is okay. I'll give him that. But outside of that, he is just a guillotine king. When you look at his record, he's 11-3. His last win was by guillotine. His win before that was a very questionable split decision in a UFC Noche. So keep that in mind because he will have the crowd behind him being of Mexican descent. Shannon Ross, he won with the overhand right against the guy with the worst chin ever. Before that was a round three guillotine. Before that was a decision, so he has cardio. But before that was a round two guillotine, round five guillotine, round one guillotine, another questionable split decision, and then he had a rear naked choke before that. So guillotine, 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 guillotine. That's all he does. He doesn't stuff takedowns. He doesn't sprawl. He automatically tries to grab onto your neck and snatch a gilly. That is his bread and butter. That's how he wins. And if he doesn't get the gilly or you're able to get out of it, at that point you stay on top of him because he does lay and pray the entire time. Not a ton of volume, not like any power whatsoever. He knocked out Shannon Ross, and that's the only person he's ever knocked out. Which I mean, I think my 6-year-old could. At the end of the day, he's a very, very bad fighter with a very, very good guillotine. That's all he is. If you are good at all, you'll kill this guy. On the other side, we have Luis Guerrilli, who I thought was really good, but he's got to prove himself here. He's 10-1 because he got knocked out in his last fight against Ode Osborne. Don't get me wrong, Ode Osborne does hit extremely hard, so it's not a ton of shame coming out here in your debut and losing to that guy. But all in all, Luis is 31 years old. He's a raw dogger, so I'm a little biased. Royval is still my favorite fighter, and this guy is one of his main training partners. So yes, please keep in mind I'm just a smidge bit biased. But this dude backs it up. He has an inch and a half reach advantage in this matchup. He has good striking. He has good wrestling. He has collegiate wrestling in his back pocket. His jiu-jitsu is okay, and I believe he's a black belt. But I mean, he's training with Brandon Royval all day. His cardio is good. His volume is super high. And if you do get this guy to the ground, he fought Nick Piccinini, who's like one of the best wrestlers in this weight class. Got taken down 10 times, but got up 10 times and won the fight because he doesn't stop. He just doesn't. He's one of these guys that don't fuck off, and you have to kill them to get them out of there. Ode did. Ode killed him. But Ode hits really, really, really hard. So at the end of the day, Luis is the better striker. He's the better wrestler. He's as long as he doesn't get guillotined, he wins this fight. And I've said that before. Stuart Nickel went out there and got guillotined against Jesus Aguilar. As long as he doesn't get guillotined, he wins this fight. He's Luis. The good news is Luis is a short little tank with a big ass head, and it's going to be really, really hard to wrap your arms around someone without a neck. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Luis, and I'm going to bet Luis at minus 220. He's the better fighter. Just for the love of God, don't get guillotined. Next fight of the night, we have Tatiana Suarez at minus 440 going up against Amanda Lemos at plus 340. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 and under 2.5 at a straight pick 'em, homie. Let's go ahead and start with Tatiana Suarez. She let everyone down in her title fight her last fight, but wait, Zhang may be the goat of the weight class, so it is what it is. Suarez is 34 years old, so she's not a prospect anymore, and she's just been synonymous with health issue after health issue after health issue. Her body is beating her, not other girls outside of Zheng. She has world-class wrestling. She has world-class jiu-jitsu. Her striking's not great. It's not. She was tailor-made for UFC 10 years ago. This day and age, it's going to be a little tougher on her, especially at an older age of 34. But her wrestling and jiu-jitsu are so advanced, she's still going to be fine. She'll probably have the crowd behind her, being the one of Mexican descent. She's very low volume when she's on the feet, but she has good cardio. At the end of the day, she is just a world-class grappler. She knows what she wants to do. She's not going to get away from it. She wants to take you down and she wants to maul you when she's on top. She'll tap you out. She'll knock you out. She'll do whatever she has to do when she's on top. On the other side, we have Amanda Lemos, who also got beat by Zhang in a title fight. But I talked about Suarez's age. Lemos is 38. She's even older. She's the far away better striker here. She has good striking. She has a 2.5 inch reach advantage, and she has a ton of power. Not a lot of girls at 115 are running around knocking everyone out. That is something Lemos does. Lemos is also a BJJ black belt. She's good on the ground. Where she struggles is her takedown defense. She's rocking a 59% takedown defense. And when you do take her down, she does play guard quite a bit. So although Lemos is a black belt and very good on the ground, I would say Suarez is better on the ground. Um, and with that 59% takedown defense, if Lemos can't keep this on the feet, she's screwed. This needs to be floor is lava with Suarez. Can Lemos do that? Maybe round one. But if she doesn't knock out Suarez, Suarez has cardio and Lemos does not. I see her fading, and I see Suarez continually wrestling, getting her tired, and ultimately getting the win. So I'm looking at this over under a little bit, but it's at a straight pick 'em, so I think Vegas has hit to it. So for that reason, I'll just go ahead and I'll take the favorite in Suarez and take Grappler over Striker in this matchup, just because I haven't seen Suarez's durability be an issue yet. Could she get caught here? Absolutely. She could get knocked out and ruin all of our nights. But for now, until that happens, I'm going to trust that big ass chin of hers. I'm going to take Tatiana Suarez, and I'm going to bet Tatiana Suarez. Next fight of the night, we have Claudio Puelles going against Neto BJJ Joaquim Silva. Puelles is minus 115, Silva minus 105. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 145. Under 2.5 at plus 115. Let's start with Neto BJJ. Joaquim Silva. He's had a decent level of competition, but he is 36 years old in this matchup. He has a ton of power. He has good jiu-jitsu. BJJ is in his name, but he doesn't really use it often. He generally likes to stand and bang, and he is a good striker. He throws decent volume. He's a little hittable for my liking. And his wrestling isn't the greatest. He'll take people down once in a while, but he's himself is rocking a 69% takedown defense. Not the best number in the world. But he's just a guy that's comfy on the ground, because jiu-jitsu is very good. And on the feet, he hits so goddamn hard. He loves to just stand and bang and brawl with everyone. On the other side, we have Claudio Puelles. He's 29 years old. He has world-class jiu-jitsu, a very, very good knee bar. That's it. His striking's ass. His wrestling's ass. His level of competition's okay, but he gets exposed. He's been KO'd multiple times. He's only 29 years old, which is interesting. And he's Peruvian, so maybe he has the crowd behind him, but he's very low volume. He's very hittable. He has that 3 inch reach advantage, but he doesn't know how to strike, so that doesn't matter in this matchup. Claudio wants to take down Silva and lay in prayer, get the sub. That's how he wins here. Can he take down Silva? Maybe, because Silva's takedown defense is again at 69%, but Claudio's offensive wrestling is not very good. And Silva's a shorter, stockier guy. I think he's gonna have some issues. So the pick is gonna be Silva. The bet's gonna be Silva, and I have no idea why Claudio Puelles is the favorite. The wrong guy's favored. And the line is moving quickly. So if you're gonna get in before that line flips. Next fight of the night. What are we doing, UFC? We have Jose Medina at plus 260 going up against Dusko Todorovic at minus 325. God damn. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 240. Under 1.5 at plus 180. I whew, I guess start with Jose Medina. Jose Medina is in the UFC because they like him, not because he's good. Because they like him. He's 34 years old. His striking, I guess, is all right. Not even. I don't know. He has bad striking. He has bad jujitsu. He has bad wrestling. He's very low volume. He's extremely hittable. His level of competition is ass. And he's there because he was tough. He got beat up by Gadzhi Zulov. And the UFC thought Gadzhi Zulov was really, really good, so they were impressed with how Jose Medina hung in there. But it turns out Gadzhi Zulov was a fraud. Or am I even saying his name right? Let me make sure. Magomed Ghazi Azulov. Yeah, yeah. Turns out he was a fraud. So they were impressed with someone getting beat up by a fraud. And they've been stuck with him on the UFC. I don't know why. It's time to cut ties. He's not good. He's not good anywhere. And his best quality is his durability because he gets hit so goddamn much. But that's not how you win fights. You don't win fights by cheering on the crowd and getting punched in the face. That doesn't help you. He's not good. He's not UFC caliber. Get his ass out of here. On the other side, we have someone that also is not long for the UFC. I thought he would have been cut after his last fight, but for some strange reason, he's here. I think this is the only guy that they think Medina can beat. Dusko's 31 years old. He was good. He got chin checked one time in the UFC, and then his whole just aura just died. He has good striking. He is a BJJ black belt. He has okay wrestling. He has skills. Problem is, he has absolutely no chin. He carries his hands extremely low. Why you would do that when you have no chin, I have no idea. And his cardio's ass. So if you have any cardio, you can out cardio him and you can knock him out. If you have any power, you can catch him and you can knock him out. That's what it comes down to. All of his losses, he has 6 career losses. They're all in the UFC. He lost his first decision against Zach Reese. All the rest of these round one knockout, round one knockout. Well, his knee blew out. Round one knockout. Decision to Gregory Rodriguez. I don't know how he went to decision there. And then Puna round one knockout. Like they're all round one knockouts. He has a bad chin. But Jose Medina doesn't throw and doesn't hit that hard. So who's the better striker? Dusko. Who's the better wrestler? Dusko. Who's the better jiu-jitsu guy? Dusko. Who has a better cardio? I guess Medina. I guess. But for the love of God, Dusko, just take him down and hold him down in the third round to survive. The pick is going to be Dusko. The bet's going to be Dusko. Minus 325 Dusko in 2025 is asinine. And I'm going to fucking take it because I'm a simp. Next fight of the night, we have Santiago Luna at minus 125 going up against Quang Bang Lee at plus 105. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 175, under 2.5 at plus 135. Let's start with Quang Bang. Just because I like that nickname, I think it's sick. He's 33 years old, and he's a generalist. He has okay striking. I think he's a Division II wrestling background. He's Chinese, but he grew up in Minnesota, so like he doesn't have an accent or anything. He's an okay jiu-jitsu practitioner. He does everything well. He's not a great striker. He's not a great wrestler. He's not a great jiu-jitsu practitioner, but he's sufficient everywhere. His level of competition's okay. He came in on short notice, looked good against Chris Gutierrez. Long Zhao is okay. Gaston Bolanos is okay. It is what it is. Level of competition on the regional scene. We're talking regional scene. So he's done what he's supposed to do in the UFC, essentially. Coming in on short notice and losing to a top 15 guy, that's fine. Losing to Long Zhao, that one doesn't look as good. But then going out there and submitting Gaston Bolaños, he did what he was supposed to do. He is a 33-year-old generalist. This is the finished product. He's not going to get any better. He's not going to get any worse. If you're UFC caliber, you beat him. If you're not, you're going to lose. On the other side, we have a 21-year-old debuting fighter at 6-0. I believe he's coming from Combate. Let me check. He is not coming from Combate. He is coming from a different Mexican regional scene, so that's a little concerning. He is fighting out at Entron Gym, so where Brandon Moreno used to train, where Edgar Charas currently trains. He's at a decent gym. He'll definitely have the crowd behind him, but he is taking this on short notice. His jiu-jitsu is okay. His cardio is really good. His wrestling is good. His striking's okay. But he is kind of hittable when he's on the feet, and his level of competition is not very good. He keeps his chin sky high in the air and his hands extremely low. He's begging for someone to come out there and just touch him up and put him to sleep. Is Quang Bang that guy? Probably not. But he's also 21 and unproven, and he's undefeated. So between him and Alice Pereira, every single fight card this year, we are into September. Every single fight card, someone's losing their O. Is it going to be Alice? Is it going to be Santiago? Both of them very green, very young. Someone's going to lose it. So I'm just going to bet against both of them since they're both favorites. Quang Bang Lee's only plus 105, so if you're going to do it, get in now. The pick is going to be Quang Bang Lee. The bet's going to be Quang Bang Lee. Um, but it's going to be a very, very close fight. This could go to split decision. Just be ready. I don't know who the better wrestler is. That's going to win this fight. Whoever the better wrestler is wins, and I have no idea who it is. Next fight of the night. You know what? I take it back. Santiago Luna. I forgot that he did do some wrestling for the Junior Olympics, so he probably is a better wrestler. So scratch everything I just said the last 2 seconds. I did not see that note. The pick is going to be Santiago. The bet's going to be the over. Over 2.5 at minus 175. Just take the safe way and take the over 1.5. Or sorry, over 2.5. Next fight of the night is another one I don't really know what to do with. It was just put together last second, so there isn't an over under. But there are odds. We have Alexander Hernandez at minus 135 going up against CDF. Diego Carlos Diego Ferreira at plus 115. This is going to be interesting. Very interesting fight here. Let's start with Alex Hernandez. He is a raw dogger, but I don't like him ever. I just he rubbed everyone the wrong way when he first came into the UFC. He did mature. I'll give him that. The reason I don't like him now is because he keeps messing up all my parlays. When I bet on him, he loses. When I bet against him, he wins. Nothing personally. I'm just annoyed that I can't get his fights right. So be aware of that with what my choices are. He has good striking. He has a ton of power. He has good wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is sneaky good. It's not great, but it's okay. He's of Mexican descent. His last name's Hernandez, so maybe he has a crowd behind him. They're in America. He probably does. He does slow down in his fights, though, and he is kind of hittable. 73% takedown defense is okay, but my concern is his cardio. If you give this guy a cardio freak, he always gasses out. It's KO or bust for him when he fights someone like that. Otherwise, if he fights someone that has good cardio and is a better striker and can just hang in there, he runs into those issues as well. So he's a real matchup based person. Hernandez is not bad at all, but if you have ungodly cardio, he will fade. If you have durability and he's swinging heavies, he will fade. If you're someone he has to go out there and wrestle, wrestling is going to make him tired and he will fade. It's just a matter of, are you that guy that can capitalize? They don't. CDF is, to be honest with you, CDF is good everywhere. He's a good striker. He has decent power on him. He is a world class jiu-jitsu practitioner. And his wrestling's okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it's okay. It's probably on par with Hernandez. He doesn't have a 2 inch reach advantage. And I think everything CDF is the better fighter. The problem is CDF is 40 years old. He's old. Um, his chin starting to deteriorate with his age. I've seen him hurt in his last few fights. CDF, if this stays on the feet, I think Hernandez knows this needs to go. No, the floor is lava in this matchup. He wants to stand and bang with a 40-year-old. CDF will be game to come out there and swing with him. He might get chin checked and he might get put away. If he does not, Hernandez will fade, and CDF is someone, if he gets on top of him, he's going to finish Hernandez. If Hernandez is gassed in round 3 and they're standing and begging, he can't finish Hernandez. He gets rocked all the time now, though. That's my concern. And Hernandez hits so hard, he might put him away. So the pick is going to be Hernandez just because you don't bet on 40-year-old fighters unless you have a really, really good reason. And I don't have one here. But the bet's going to be the under, whatever that is when it comes out. I know it might be an astronomical number, but you're just going to have to play it safe with this one with under or fight doesn't go the distance unless Hernandez money comes in. If the price is right, you can talk me into CDF, but it's got to be that plus 150 range. Plus 115 ain't it? I'd rather just eat chalk at over 2.5, whatever that is. So the pick is going to be Hernandez. The bet's going to be the under 2.5, or CDF if that line moves. Next fight of the night is one that I feel like is a trap. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to fall for it anyway. We have Kelvin Gastelum at minus 260, put up against Dustin Stolfus at plus 210. Over 2.5, minus 240. Under 2.5, plus 160. The reason it's a trap is because one guy has name recognition and one guy does not. Dustin Stolfus is not great. He has a 3.5 inch reach advantage here. He's 33 years old. His jiu-jitsu is good. His wrestling's okay. His striking has improved. He is someone that I wrote off as being awful, and has proven me wrong. He's not a terrible fighter. He is not as bad as I thought he was, and he hits sneaky hard. Like he kind of has some power to him, to be honest with you. Problems are he gasses out. He is extremely just physically slow, and he throws very low volume when he is on the feet. And if you don't want to stand and bang with him, you can take him down. He has 46% takedown defense. So a bad chin and bad takedown defense and bad cardio, not good combinations. The other stuff he has improved on, and I will give the devil his due. He's gotten much better, but he's 33. This is it. Like it's not going to get any better than it is now. Are his improvements enough to beat someone like Calvin Gastelum, who is fading? Calvin Gastelum is on its way down, while Stolfitz was on his way up. But Stolfitz plateaued right here, and it's does Calvin shoot below where Dustin Stolfus was? For now, at 33, I'm going to say no. Calvin has good striking. He too is 33 years old. He has good wrestling offensively. Defensively, 68% or no, 58% takedown defense. I don't like that number. He has good cardio. He has good durability. His jiu-jitsu is okay. I will say Dustin has a jiu-jitsu edge. But Dustin isn't like one of these scary jiu-jitsu guys. Like you're fine. He has a great level of competition. I mean, he fought for the title for fuck's sake. And he probably has a crowd behind him. He has the name, and he's a Mexican descent fighting on UFC Noche. So Calvin's the better wrestler. He barely. He's the better striker by a lot. And jiu-jitsu, he's probably worse, but he has the better cardio by a lot. So it should be Calvin, but he is declining. So you're playing with fire. I don't like this number, to be honest with you. But because of the name, you kind of have to eat it. And I'm just going to go ahead and eat it, I guess. The pick is going to be Calvin Gastelum. The bet is going to be Calvin Gastelum. Next fight of the night. We have another bad line. We have Jared Gordon at minus 240 going up against Rafa Garcia at plus 195. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 360. Under 2.5 at plus 260. Let's start with Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon is another one of these guys who's a little bit of a generalist, but he's 37 years old, so he's getting a little older here. He has good striking. He has okay jiu-jitsu. He has okay offensive wrestling, defensive 62% takedown defense isn't the number I like. He throws a ton of volume. He just doesn't really hit very hard. And he's fought a good level of competition. He fought Alex or not Alex. DuBronx for some strange reason. He fought Patty Pimblett, Thiago Moises, Mark Madsen. Like these are good fighters. Leonardo Santos, but old version. Grant Dawson, Joe Selecki. Like these are decent fighters here. Joaquim Silva, CDF. But when you look at all of his losses, it's by knockout, by rear naked choke, and then by decision and by decision. So, does he have a little bit of a durability issue? I used to think so, but the guy hasn't been knocked out since 2019. I think he was just fighting really, really hard punchers, and that was the issue. So, unless you're a murderous puncher, you're probably not putting him out. And he has pretty decent cardio. They'll talk about him dying and coming back to life from a drug overdose. They love to talk about that. He doesn't quit. He keeps coming, and he's very, very annoying because he's not great, but he just doesn't quit on himself and he keeps going. So it's not something you want to get in front of most of the time. But he's 37. That chin is just asking to rear its ugly head again. On the other side, we have Rafa Garcia, who is of Mexican descent, so he will have the crowd behind him. He is okay striking. He will have a 2-inch reach advantage. That's important because I think the striking exchanges will be relatively close. Jared should have the edge, but at least he has a reach to help. But in regards to wrestling, he's the better wrestler. He's a very, very, very good wrestler. He's a BJJ black belt. He doesn't have a ton of subs in the UFC, but he does have it in his back pocket. So in regards to the ground game, I think it's a wash. In regards to the wrestling, I think it's Hoffa all day. And in regards to his striking, I think it's Jared by the slimmest of margins. His cardio's okay. I've seen him gas out. I've seen him look good. Like you really don't know what version you're gonna get. He has good losses. He lost to Nazaret on short notice. He came in on a week's notice and gave him hell. He lost to Kritz Gutzmacher. He 10-8'd Kritz Gutzmacher and then gassed out. Like that was the first time we saw him gas out, so that was interesting. He came in on 1 week's notice and fought Jakar Close in a very, very close fight that could have gone his way. And then he went out there and he got ground and pounded by Grant Dawson, but Grant Dawson is a top 5 guy, no shame there. Jared Gordon also got finished by Grant Dawson, so kind of a wash there. My issue with him is that he came in and he beat Mahashate, but outside of Mahashate, he beat Jesse Ronson, who's old. He beat Vince Pichel, who's old. He beat Clay Guida, who's old. He goes out there and he beats up old men. That's what he does. Well, plot twist. Jared Gordon's 37 years old. Is that old enough for our boy Hoffa? I don't know. I think this fight is 50-50. However, the crowd will be behind Hoffa, and he's plus 195. I'm taking the shot. And I hope that he puts on a wrestling clinic because that's how he wins this fight. Close fight, stand up. Hoffa definitely hits harder. So just go out there, swing and bang, probably lose most of the exchanges, and then get a takedown to sway the judges. And I think it's going to be Hoffa by split. So the pick is going to be Hoffa Garcia. The bet's going to be Hoffa Garcia. And keep an eye on those split decision props. That takes us to the co-main event of the evening, and I'm getting a little wild here. We have Rob Font at minus 135 going up against David Martinez at plus 115. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 360. Under 2.5 at plus 260. Let's start with David Martinez. David Martinez is coming in on shorter notice. I can't remember if he was originally slated to be on this card. He was going to fight Quang Lee. Yeah, he was all right. So he was already in fight camp. He was going to fight Carlos Vera, then he was going to fight Quang Lee, and things just got moved around all over the place. At the end of the day, David Martinez is of Mexican descent. He's from Mexico, so he'll have the crowd behind him. He's 27 years old. He has really, really, really good striking, decent power on him, very good cardio. His jiu-jitsu and his wrestling we don't know about. Why? Because he has a very kick-heavy kind of like karate style, like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and he's very hard to get a hold of. Just like people like Wonderboy and people like more closely MVP. It's just really hard to catch this guy. He's so goddamn hard to hit, and he's really hard to just grab a hold of. Like it's really, really, really difficult. So I don't know if his jiu-jitsu is good or not. I really don't because we never see him on the ground because he has good takedown defense and he just moves around so much. And when you do eventually bite down on the mouthpiece and say, fuck it, I'm just coming at you straight, he knocks you out. He knocked out Simon Oliveira. He knocked out people over in Combate. Like, that's what he does. When you get aggressive and you just charge him, he puts your lights out. Otherwise, he will dance around the octagon and outpoint you for days. He's a very, very tricky fighter. And he's someone that a lot of people have a lot of issues with. He's pretty good, man. I'll give it to him. Is it too much too soon, though? Because Rob Font is a perennial top 10 guy. Rob Font's been around in the UFC forever, has fought the who's who. He's 38 years old, though, so keep that in mind. With his age, his chin is starting to fade. He's getting dropped in all of his fights. He'll have a 3-inch reach advantage, and he himself is predominantly a striker, so it is striker versus striker. He has a good level of competition, obviously, fighting in the UFC as long as he has. His jiu-jitsu is sneaky good. His wrestling's ass. But he has good cardio and he throws a ton of volume. My concern is that chin, man. It's gonna go on him. I don't think he's ever been KO'd, but he's been dropped in so many fights. He got dropped in the Davidson Figueroa fight. He got dropped against Corey Sandhagen. He got dropped against Marlon Vera, got dropped against Jose Aldo. Like he's getting dropped in every single one of these fights. Even some of these he's winning. He's going out there and getting dropped before he wins. So it is concerning. My problem with him is that he can't wrestle to save his life. So he's going to have to go out there and stand and bang with Martinez. And to me, I think this is going to look a whole hell of a lot like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was a good boxer with a big reach and was able to crack him a few times. So Wonderboy was able to stay safe and crack Kevin quite a bit with that distance striking. I think this is the same exact thing. And Wonderboy was the dog, a small dog, and won in that matchup. And I think the same thing is probably going to happen here, especially with the judges being with the Mexican. So the pick is going to be David Martinez with a huge upset, and the bet's going to be David Martinez with a huge upset. I hate the number. There's another one where Vegas is trying to make me bet Rob Font, but I think David is the side. Pick is David, bet is David. And that takes us to the main event of the evening. If you haven't already, smash the like, give a follow over on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever there's social media. Here's the Stance and Stacks podcast. We have everybody's boy. Tonight may be the night. Diego Lopez at plus 200 going up against Gene Silva. At minus 245. Over 2.5, minus 165. Under 2.5 at plus 130. Let's start with Lord Gene Silva, who everyone is just going to be talking about his fight camp going to shits. Kyle lost. Rufy lost. Prates lost. All of these fighting nerds outside of Michael Olean Jacek are losing left and right all over the place. And that has nothing to do with him. He's 28 years old. He has good striking. He has really good takedown defense. He has sneaky good jiu-jitsu. He has a ton of power. That's what you're going to see is that he's super fast and super strong. The dude has some of the biggest power at 145, and the dude has some of the fastest hands at 145 to accompany that power. Scary combination. Level of competition, pretty decent as of late, beating Bryce Mitchell, beating Drew Dober up a weight class, Charles Jourdain. Like these are pretty decent wins. Nothing crazy. Bryce Mitchell one looks pretty good. The rest of them are okay. Um, he throws a ton of volume. 86% takedown defense. He's super hard to get down there. At the end of the day, you're forced to stand and bang with a power puncher because you can't get him down to the ground. That's what it comes down to. And when you do, God, good Lord, he's faster than you. He hits harder than you. He is an absolute fucking menace. The one area where he can struggle is his cardio. It popped up against Pedro Henrique, and he ultimately lost the fight. It popped up against Gabriel Schlupp, where he ultimately lost the fight. And it popped up in his Contender Series fight against Kevin Vallejos, and he barely won the fight. So he does get tired from time to time. With all this God-given ability of power and speed, he was not blessed with cardio. So he can go 3 rounds. I don't know about him in a 5 rounder. It's just a matter of does it get that far? I'm not sure. Diego Lopez himself is a little killer be killed here. He's 30 years old. He's in his prime. He's just coming off of losing for the world title. He's gonna have a 3.5 inch reach advantage. He's one of these guys again who is from Brazil but has been training in Mexico for years. He is adapted Mexican. Adopted Mexican. He is gonna have the crowd way behind him. He has world class jiu-jitsu, best jiu-jitsu in this weight class, maybe in all of MMA outside of Chucky O. Him and Charles probably the best jiu-jitsu out of everyone. His striking's good. It's very unorthodox, but he hits extremely hard, has a ton of power. He can slow down in his fights. But I don't know. He went 5 rounds against Volk just fine. So he has worked on his cardio. It's gotten better. His wrestling isn't very good. That's where the issue is. This is he's fought a great level of competition, but he's kind of hittable. And this is very, very reminiscent of last week, where I was saying Imavov is the much better striker, um, and has really good takedown defense. Kaio is the all-around better fighter. He can hang with him on the feet, but he's much better on the ground. But he can't wrestle to get it down there. And if he can't get him down to the ground, he's forced to strike with someone who's just simply a better striker. This might be the same thing again. Silva is the better striker. All around, striking is close, but I would definitely lean Silva. In regards to wrestling, neither one can wrestle. And with jiu-jitsu, Lopez will smoke Silva. But how does he get it down there? He can't wrestle. So if he's forced to stand and bang, that's an issue, especially with how hittable he is. Can he take all these shots? Will Silva gas himself out trying to kill him? I don't know. I really don't know. But I think it's going to be a popular decision to fade the fighting nerds right now because they're all losing. And I think that's a mistake. I think this is Silva just based on matchups. I really want Diego to win a lot. I love Diego Lopez. I've been rocking with Diego Lopez. So what I'm going to do is what I always do with odds like these in the main event. I'm going to attach Gene Silva to every single one of my fights. And then I'm going to ultimately bet Diego Lopez as a hedge. So that's the only way to do this. So the pick is going to be Gene Silva. The bet's going to be Gene Silva, but I will be hedging with Diego Lopez. And that's UFC Noche. It's a fun card. It starts at 3 o'clock, so it's not a morning one, it's an afternoon one, so be cognizant of that. We're looking to make a little more money this go around. Let's get after it.